Miraculous journey between 7 divine dimensions. Prophetic revelations of supernatural healing and divine hope in the heart of a quaint English village, cocooned by rolling hills and whispering woodlands. A once vibrant mother named Sarah faced a trial that could shake the very foundations of faith itself. Her young son, Jacob, a bright-eyed boy with laughter like music, was diagnosed with a terminal illness, a fate that felt too cruel to bear. The news struck like a thunderclap, leaving the community gasping for breath. In the shadows of their beloved chapel, as candles flickered against stone walls, Sarah's heart ached with desolation and despair. It was here that they turned to the one beacon of hope, the patron saint of lost causes, St. Jude. An ethereal glow enveloped the chapel one fateful Sunday, illuminating the faces of the congregants gathered in fervent prayer. Whispers of divine revelation floated through the air like the sweet aroma of incense. God speaks, someone called, as the pastor, eyes shimmering with unearthly light, delivered a prophetic message of 7 divine dimensions of healing. Each dimension promised redemption yet demanded trials that would prompt Sarah to wrestle with doubt and fear, forging her faith anew. With her heart pounding, she confronted those whispers of disbelief that crept through the hearts of her neighbors, murmurs of earthly realities and forgotten promises. How could God allow such suffering? They questioned, while Sarah clung to her scriptures. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. A warmth enveloped her soul, but the looming shadow of prognosis threatened peace, gnawing at her spirit like an insatiable beast. The first attempt at healing unfolded with unyielding hope, yet heartbreak ensued. She sat in her dimly lit room, clutching Jacob's frail hand, tears cascading down her cheeks, drowning in grief. Why, God? She pleaded, but in that moment of despair, a sudden gust of wind swept through, and a divine presence appeared. An angelic figure shimmered, cloaked in light that burned away the shadows of doubt. Remember, Sarah, it whispered, faith is your greatest weapon. Community is your shield. As the warmth of that encounter ignited her spirit, she found strength in the voices around her. The villagers resumed their prayers, their chants woven together into a mighty tapestry of unwavering faith. Each prayer was a thread, each tear a knot binding them closer. With every flicker of candlelight, hope ignited anew, filling the chapel with resounding joy. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just when a breakthrough seemed impending, a sudden crisis jolted Sarah into the depths of hopelessness. The chapel fell silent as her heart raced, consuming her with dread. Is God truly listening? She mused aloud, helplessness clawing at her. Shadows danced around the prayer circle, heavy with unanswered questions. Yet, amidst spiritual tension, her faith remained a fragile yet unyielding beacon. As the villagers gathered for a prayer vigil one last time, a surge of energy filled the space, a divine magnetism resonating in the air. Sarah braced herself, channeling her desperation into a powerful wave of faith. Would they rise to meet the challenge woven into the prophecy? Or would silence echo around them, sealing Jacob's fate? The tension spread like wildfire, igniting hearts as they clung to the promise that their miraculous journey was just beginning. As the prayer vigil deepened, a sacred hush fell over the chapel. Candles flickered more brightly, casting golden halos that danced upon the stone walls. Each flicker felt like a heartbeat, reverberating with hope. Sarah could feel the weight of her community's prayers lifting the heaviness from her soul. A collective breath echoed, an expression of shared determination. We will not falter, she thought, grounded in faith despite the storm threatening her heart. The pastor stepped forward, his voice a steady anchor. Friends, let us remember the promise of the 7 divine dimensions. His words slipped into the silence like a gentle whispering wind, stoking the embers of belief that flickered in their hearts. Each dimension represented an opportunity, a pathway through the wilderness of despair. As he called upon the first dimension of healing, a sudden warmth enveloped Sarah. It was as if the very air conspired with her prayers, wrapping her in a divine embrace. Healing comes through surrender, he declared, and the words resonated deep within her. Sarah closed her eyes, envisioning Jacob's laughter filling the room, transforming the shadows of anxiety. "Lord, I trust you," she breathed, releasing her grip on the outcome. Yet doubt stubbornly tugged at her spirit. What if? The questions spiraled like leaves caught in a gust. As if sensing her turmoil, a voice broke through the darkness, soft yet commanding. It came not from the pastor nor any member of the congregation, but from within her very heart. What if your suffering is the soil from which healing shall blossom? A new wave of energy surged, igniting a flicker of realization. Sarah understood, her journey was not hers alone. Each moment of anguish had meaning, each tear a step toward divine revelation. The villagers, all connected in their devotion, were not just supporters. They were vital threads in the tapestry of her life. Around her, she sensed a shift. The prayers intensified. Melodies of hope filled the sanctuary, rising to the heavens like incense. "We are one," she thought, feeling the pulsing presence of their shared faith trembling in the air. The boundaries of isolation dissolved as the congregation joined hands, creating a circle of unity that sealed their promises before the divine. Suddenly, Jacob stirred in his sleep, his brow furrowing as though he sensed the storm brewing within his mother. Sarah's heart clenched. Fear pricked the edges of her newfound peace. Is this the day? The thought whispered through the altar of her mind. No sooner had the question emerged than a brilliant light cascaded through the small chapel's windows. A burst of illumination illuminated every face, transforming each prayer into a radiant offering. "God is here," a voice among the gathered murmured, breathless with wonder. In that moment of divine presence, Sarah felt a tide of peace wash over her. The fear that had consumed her heart ebbed like a fading tide, replaced by the confidence that she was exactly where she needed to be. The truth settled in faith thrives in uncertainty, and miracles blossom amidst the wilderness of doubt. As she opened her eyes, every person in the chapel appeared transformed, a mosaic of strength and hope. They were not just praying for Jacob. They were journeying through the dimensions of faith together. And in that unity, Sarah glimpsed something profound. Could it be, she pondered, that each trial is a doorway to deeper connection and divine promise? But just then, a loud crack rang through the air, startling them all to attention. Was it the sound of faith breaking through, or was it a new challenge on the horizon? The moment of divine intervention seemed close at hand, yet shrouded in mystery. What awaited them on this miraculous journey through the dimensions of hope? The crack echoed with newfound intensity, a sharp interruption that stretched the air taut with anticipation. Sarah's heart raced as she searched the faces around her, watching their eyes widen and their breaths quicken. It was a sound that seemed to signal the arrival of something extraordinary, a moment where heaven kissed earth and whispered secrets meant only for those yearning to hear. The pastor raised his hand, urging calm. "This is the moment," he said, his tone steady but charged with electricity. "Let us be still and listen. God is at work." His words melted the apprehension into a shared eagerness, transforming the atmosphere again into one of expectant faith. Sarah drew in a deep breath. She felt the warmth of Jacob's tiny hand nestled within hers, fragile yet alive with strength. In that small gesture lay a promise. She closed her eyes again, centered herself, and tuned into the heartbeat of the chapel, listening beyond the jubilant prayers. With each thrum, she sensed a pulse of transformation. Something sacred was shifting within and around her. Just then, an elderly woman, known for her unwavering faith and vibrant spirit, stood up. "In moments like this," she said, her voice steady and clear, "we must be bold. We must declare the healing that is at our door. Our God is a God of miracles." A murmur of agreement swept through the congregation, voices rising in crescendo, creating a symphony of hope echoing off the chapel's walls. They were not just asking for healing. They were proclaiming it, boldly standing on the promises laid before them by their Creator. Let us call upon the dimensions of promise, the pastor urged, rallying the congregants. In the second dimension, we embrace restoration. As his words spilled forth, Sarah felt a rush of energy burst through her. She envisioned Jacob's bright smile, his laughter, his very essence of life mingling with the prayers cascading like rain upon fertile ground. Tears pooled in her eyes, brimming with gratitude. Restoration wasn't merely a goal. It was an invitation to restore the joy stolen by worry. The prayers echoed louder, weaving together the hearts and spirits of everyone in the room. Sarah could see the flicker of hope ignite within them all, lighting their faces in radiant glow. The flame of unity began to take shape, a beautiful tapestry of voices joining together as they called forth restoration. And then, the chapel's doors burst open with a robust gust, flinging wide like the arms of an awaiting embrace. A veil of light streamed in, golden and warm, swathing the sanctuary in divine presence. The candles flickered wildly, dancing in delight, as if they too were partaking in this heavenly invitation. Receive this moment, Sarah urged, her voice trembling with joy. God is fulfilling his promises. Jacob's healing is in our midst. The congregation heaved with renewed fervor, an avalanche of prayers melding into an orchestration of desire. Whispers of praise intermingled with the sounds of fragile weeping, each drop of sorrow transformed into overflowing hope. But just as the collective spirit reached its zenith, a stillness washed over them, like a tide receding to reveal hidden treasures. Sarah felt her heart still, grasping the weight of that pregnant pause. It was sacred, the kind of silence where God's breath spoke louder than any voice. And then came a gentle voice like rolling thunder within her spirit, guiding her through the silence. Dare to trust, for this is the moment you have awaited. What you seek shall be unveiled. But what did it really mean? Could it be that the storm Saran felt was but a prelude to greater revelations and deeper healing? The air buzzed with anticipation. Questions danced upon the edges of her mind as she sought answers in that silent sacred pause. What will that revelation reveal? What dimensions of healing awaited them next? And could it be that the journey into the depths of faith was revealing more than she could ever imagine? The silence enveloped the chapel like a thick blanket, wrapping every soul present in a holy hush. Sarah opened her eyes, feeling the weight of expectation hung in the air. Deeper than before, she sought the presence of God in the stillness, and as she did, she glimpsed a shimmering light cascading from the altar. It was subtle at first, an iridescent glow that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the hearts of everyone gathered. Look, a voice broke through the quiet, pointing toward the source of the light. It was a young man, eyes wide with wonder. Murmurs of astonishment rippled across the congregation. The pastor, sensing the shift, raised his voice again. God is revealing himself. Let us remain steady, for this is a moment of profound connection with the divine. As he spoke, the shimmering grew brighter, illuminating the sacred space. Sarah felt her spirit soar, intertwining with the essence of the moment. She grasped Jacob's hand tighter, feeling an electric joy radiate from the child, a reminder of the hope and innocence he represented. The elderly woman took a step forward, her face radiant. This is the third dimension, my friends, the dimension of revelation, she declared, her voice powerful and filled with the Spirit. In this realm, we will see truth unveiled. Our doubts will be shattered, and we shall witness miracles beyond our understanding. With those words, Sarah felt something new ripple through her, a desire to dig deeper, to uncover layers of truth within herself and around her. What did God want to reveal? What miracles awaited? The sensation of wonder and fear intertwined within her, dancing like the flickering light. She knew whatever was coming wouldn't just be a whisper. It would demand a response, stirring her faith to rise with newfound vigor. As if in answer to her unspoken questions, the congregation began to unite in song. Each note poured forth an urgency that stirred the air. Sarah marveled at how voices rose and fell together, weaving a tapestry of sound that echoed the longing of hearts. Joy mingled with tears that flowed freely, merging sorrow with newfound hope. "Open your hearts," the pastor urged, lifting his hands toward heaven. "In these moments we become vessels for his miracles." And then it happened. A low hum permeated the sanctuary, a vibration that coursed through every being. Sarah felt it deep in her chest, the hum resonating with a clarity that lifted her spirit. She closed her eyes once more and gave herself to this powerful rhythm, letting it wash over her like a warm tide. A sense of urgency washed through her as she wondered if others felt it, too. Was this call to action? Could it be they were being invited to step into a new realm where faith transformed into tangible experience? She could feel hearts waking around her, like flowers emerging from the frost. Suddenly, the elderly woman again raised her voice. "Let us not merely watch. We must be bold. Step forward in faith. For those brave enough, God will meet you." An electric charge ignited the air. Some congregants hesitated, others moved with cautious determination. Sarah felt her heart pounding with the weight of the moment. Did she have the courage to step forward? Was she ready to embrace the revelation promised? The pastor began walking down the aisle, his presence an anchor amidst the swirling energy. "Trust in his plans," he encouraged, reaching for hands extended in faith. "You are not alone in this journey." In that charged atmosphere, the time felt suspended, the air thick with divine potential. Sarah inhaled deeply, her spirit imploring her to move. But what would she find if she stepped out? As Jacob's hands slipped free, her heart leaped in response. Would this journey lead them toward not just healing, but a deeper understanding of their faith? Would stepping forward unveil something they could never have imagined? The light pulsed, inviting and intoxicating, whispering promises yet unspoken. What lay beyond that threshold of faith? Would they be willing to embrace the unknown, to journey further into the dimensions of God's miraculous plan? The answers waited, wrapped in divine mystery. The weight of the moment hung in the air, electric with anticipation. Sarah's feet felt glued to the ground, as if the very tiles of the chapel were anchoring her fears. Jacob, emboldened by the atmosphere, instinctively moved away from her side. His small frame stepped forward, drawn towards the pulsating light. She glanced at him, seeing his cherubic face filled with wonder, and her heart swelled with both pride and anxiety. Could he sense the divine presence? Was it safe? "Jacob," she called, her voice almost lost beneath the swelling chorus of worship. But he turned, eyes bright as stars, and beckoned her to join him. The pastor continued walking, encouraging the congregation with fervent love. "This is the moment, the very hour for miracles to unfold. Do not hold back." The elderly woman stood taller now, a beacon of courage. "When we step forth, we break through the barriers of fear. Trust in the goodness of God." Then, a series of gasps coursed through the chapel. A woman in the front row had risen, shaky at first but then with renewed strength. She approached the altar, her hands trembling as she lifted them heavenward. The air, heavy with prayer and possibility, seemed to thrum in response. "Who feels the call to join her?" the pastor implored, his voice filled with urgency. "Let your hearts guide you. The Lord is waiting." As if compelled by an unseen force, someone else joined the first woman at the altar. One after another, they stepped out, shedding layers of hesitation. Faith thrummed like a heartbeat, reverberating within the hearts of all present. Each step taken by a soul willing to embrace the unknown lifted the spirits of those still seated. Sarah's heartbeat quickened. She glanced at Jacob again. His bright smile seemed to tell her not to be afraid. He believed in this moment. Wasn't he faith meant to be childlike? Panic swirled within her, yet the beauty of vulnerability whispered of strength. With a gasp of determination, Sarah inhaled deeply. "I will go," she declared softly, almost to herself. The decision burned within, igniting something greater. She released Jacob's hand, steadying him first. "Stay close. "We're going together," she assured him, trying to contain the quiver in her voice. He nodded, eyes sparkling, mirroring her resolve as they took their first steps toward the altar. Each step felt like treading on sacred ground. Sarah listened to the whispers of prayers rising around them, curling up to meet the shimmering light. As they neared the altar, the vibrational hum intensified, melding with the harmony of voices. It was as if the very essence of the divine was pulling them closer, weaving their destinies into the fabric of something miraculous. Suddenly, a cry erupted from the altar. A man, once hunched with pain, now stood upright, his eyes wide with awe. "I can feel it. I have been healed," he exclaimed, disbelief and joy intertwined on his face. Gasps erupted once more as all turned to witness. A wave of faith surged through the congregation. People began to rise from their seats, hands lifted, their eyes shining with tears of transformation. Surely this was what the elderly woman had prophesied, a glimpse into the dimensions of the divine, where fear and doubt dissipated. Sarah's heart raced with the intensity of it all. Possibilities danced around her. What miracles could God unfold as she approached? What burdens might he lift from her heart? Each breath she took fueled her anticipation. She reached the altar, Jacob clinging tightly to her side. The shimmering light enveloped them, embracing their vulnerability and their faith. Around them, souls were being released, healing poured forth like water from a broken well. As the praise continued to swell, Sarah's heart ached with a mixture of joy and longing. What was her healing? Would she discover it here, in this holy moment? Each footfall was now sacred, each heart open to revelation. But just as her spirit began to grasp a deeper truth, a sudden silence fell upon the room. Then, a voice spoke from the very heart of the light. "Seek and you shall find." What did that mean for everyone gathered? Would they step further into this collective mystery or retreat back into their fears? The journey had only begun, and the real question lingered: what miracles awaited them just beyond the reach of their understanding? The silence enveloped the chapel, wrapping everyone in a blanket of stillness, a moment pregnant with expectation. Sarah felt a warmth radiating from the light, igniting a flicker of hope within her. The voice remained, gentle yet powerful, resonating deep inside her spirit. "Seek, and you shall find," echoed in her mind, stirring an inner quest she hadn't dared to acknowledge until now. As the words settled like soft rain on parched ground, the atmosphere shifted, deepening with palpable tension. The pastor stood motionless, his gaze fixed on the light as if he, too, was deciphering its message. The congregation held their breath, hearts beating in unison, straining to perceive what this divine invitation might reveal. Jacob squeezed her hand tighter. His innocence, a refreshing balm for Sarah's anxious soul, seemed to clear away the clutter of doubts swirling in her mind. She knelt beside him, feeling the coolness of the chapel tiles beneath her, grounding her with each touch. "What are we seeking?" she whispered, both to Jacob and herself, her heart yearning for clarity. "Miracles," he answered with unabashed enthusiasm, his eyes bright with childlike wonder. "We can ask God for anything, can't we, Mom?" His faith was unwavering. A warmth blossomed in Sarah's chest at her son's fervor. "Yes, my love," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We can." Around them, others began to respond to the echoing call. One by one, individuals stepped forward, drawn by faith stronger than their fears. The woman who first approached the altar stood transfixed, arms lifted high, radiating a sense of peace that seemed to flow from her like ripples on a still lake. A murmur cascaded through the crowd, voices intermingling like a beautiful song. Whispers of hope, cries of desperation, and praise intertwined, rising upwards as if seeking out the light itself. Sarah could sense their collective faith tangibly gripping the air. Then, as if to signify the arrival of something monumental, a flash of brilliance illuminated the altar. The light pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat of divine love that seemed to echo the prayerful longing of the gathered souls. "What do you seek?" The voice resonated again, clearer now, flowing like honey, rich, warm, enticing. Healing, restoration, clarity. Each person held their own dreams within them. Jacob turned to her, eyes sparkling anew. She searched his gaze, recalling all the moments she had wrestled with doubt. "Let us ask together, Jacob," she said softly, her heart swelling with courage. Together, they closed their eyes, the warmth of the light enveloping them snugly. "Lord," Sarah began, feeling a divine whisper caress her thoughts, "we seek your miracles. I seek understanding and freedom from my burdens." A soft flow of clarity overtook her, intertwining with Jacob's sincere request for joy and healing for those they loved. Suddenly, the energy shifted. The air thickened with potent grace. Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks, cleansing and cathartic. The burdens she carried began to shift, unraveling like forgotten fabric. Joy bubbled forth, threatened to burst from her heart. There was no need to articulate every worry or need. God knew the depths of their hearts better than they ever could. In this sacred moment, Sarah realized it wasn't simply about receiving miracles. It was about believing they were possible. As their prayers fused into one powerful plea, the congregation reverberated with energy, hearts igniting with hope and trust. Then, with a breathless stillness, the voice commanded, "Open your hearts, for transformation begins now." Sarah's heart raced with anticipation. What would unfold? Could this be the beginning of a miraculous journey into deeper understanding and healing? As she opened her eyes, the growing light seemed to pull them closer. In the midst of this divine interaction, a profound realization dawned upon her. True miracles often dwell in the seeking itself. What awaited them now looked to be far beyond any expectation. Would they summon the courage to embrace every mysterious turn? Ahead, a new chapter was beckoning, filled with profound revelations yet to come. Sarah's heart fluttered with a mix of anticipation and fear. The warmth of the divine light wrapped around them like a comforting quilt, each pulse of illumination beating with life, as if inviting them into an unseen world of possibilities. The moment felt electric. Their faith, once a flicker, had now ignited into a blazing fire. Around them, the congregation responded, each soul unburdening their hearts, releasing their doubts into the light. Sarah felt disconnected from the world outside their prayer circle, entranced by the shimmering glow that pulsed like a heartbeat, drawing her closer within. The soft echo of the voice lingered in the air, bold and beckoning. "Open your hearts." Jacob's innocent trust steadied her resolve. "Mom, what if we really get to talk to him?" His wide eyes gleamed like precious stones, their brilliance untainted by cynicism. The notion held weight. What if they truly could connect beyond the confines of their earthly worries? A wellspring of hope bubbled within Sarah, flooding her spirit and washing away remnants of doubt. "We will, Jacob," she replied, her voice steadying with purpose. "We will speak to him and he will respond." As if in response, the light intensified, casting an ethereal glow over the chapel walls. Shadows danced in reverence, and the atmosphere thickened, rendering it almost tangible. A soft hum vibrated through the air, harmonizing with their hearts' rhythms. Suddenly, the voice reemerged, deeper and resonant. "Fear not what lies ahead, for every step you take in faith leads you into deeper understanding." Each word felt like balm upon Sarah's fears. A flood of images washed over her mind, memories of past struggles, seminal moments of despair punctured by glimmers of hope. Each had been a stepping stone leading her to this very moment. Why should she question now? Around them, the others, too, were enveloped in the beauty of the unfolding scene. A young man, tears streaming down his face, clutched the hands of those beside him, sharing silent breaths of prayer. An elderly woman raised her arms higher, surrendering every doubt she had ever held. Their emotions fused with Sarah's as they sought the same light, the same miracles that lived in honest faith. Mom Jacob's voice broke through the cacophony of emotion, pulling her focus back. What if he wants to show us something? In that moment, an undeniable urge surged inside Sarah, one that whispered of journeys yet to be discovered. He might. Jacob, just stay close. The warmth enveloped them tighter, the pulse of the light guiding their spirits forward. as if a torrent of energy swirled around them, drawing them into communion with the heavenly presence. Then, a sudden hush blanketed the chapel. The vibrant murmurs faded. A distinct clarity descended with a gentle wave, ushering in a divine quietude. Each of you, step into the light of your desires. As if commanded, the congregation instinctively moved. Each individual rose slowly, forming a circle around the pulpit, a sea of eager faces and open hearts. Sarah found herself swept into motion beside Jacob, their hands linked as they approached the center. Follow your longing, the voice intoned gently, yet firm. Your miracle awaits. Sarah felt the fear dissipate, replaced by a grounding resolve. They were not merely seeking. They were embarking on a pilgrimage of faith. It was no longer just about asking for miracles but embracing the journey. Would they discover something beyond their dreams, breaking through barriers they never knew existed? Was she ready to embrace what lay beyond their current understanding? The divine invitation lingered, leaving her breathless, filled with wonder. Glancing at Jacob, a stirring question rose in her heart. What awaited them on the other side of faith? What were the dimensions of miracles yet to unfold? The light shimmered, calling her deeper, as the journey of transformation was just beginning. As Sarah and Jacob stood at the edge of the pulpit, enveloped in the radiant light, the world around them began to dissolve. The chatter, the worries, the battlegrounds of daily life started to fade away like distant echoes. They were now cocooned in a sacred sphere of illumination, where every heartbeat seemed to synchronize with the divine pulse. Keep your heart open, whispered Jacob, his small voice carrying a weight far beyond his years. His innocence lit the way for those around them, and Sarah drew strength from their bond. This was a threshold, a moment to leap beyond understanding and into the embrace of spiritual wonders. The voice came again, gentle yet overflowing with authority. In this light, your hearts will be unveiled, revealing the deepest desires within. What will you ask of me today? The question hung in the air, thick with expectation. Sarah felt her throat tighten, her spirit wrestling with a mixture of desire and reverence. What did she truly long for? Was it healing for her own heart, shattered from years of disappointment? Was it peace, for herself and for Jacob, a tranquility that could weather any storm? Around her, faces reflected the same turmoil of thought, the same yearning. A woman trembled, holding her child close, her lips moving silently in prayer, while a gentleman nearby raised his eyes to the heavens, his palms upward in surrender. They were shared souls in this sacred moment, gathered to unveil their vulnerabilities. Mom, Jacob's voice broke her reverie again. What if he wants us to think bigger? His words struck a chord. Sarah sensed a truth echoing in her heart. For far too long, she had limited her visions based on past failures. What if today was a moment of divine liberation? Jacob, she replied, feeling her spirit lift, let us ask for what we never dared to imagine. With a newfound courage, she closed her eyes, sinking deeper into the warm embrace of the light. Each thought became a prayer, every whisper becoming a longing flung into the divine expanse. Lord, help us to heal. Help me to inspire. Bring forth miracles not just in our lives but in those around us. The moment felt sacred, as if the very air shimmered with possibility. And then, something remarkable happened. The light pulsed, expanding outward, filling the room, wrapping every individual in a cocoon of love. Each heart began to beat as one, echoing the promise of collective miracles. Take a step forward to claim your wonder. The voice rumbled gently, reverberating through the chapel. What you envision, you shall receive. Sarah squeezed Jacob's hand, feeling the energy translate into a powerful urge. They were not alone in their desires. The echoes of hope had entwined the congregation, creating a chain of shared faith. With hesitant determination, Sarah took a step forward, feeling the shift not only in her body but in her spirit. The light became brighter still, almost blinding, and yet she felt no fear, just the exhilarating rush of divine presence. Jacob followed closely, his small figure radiating with trust. Let us go, Mom, he exclaimed, his voice cutting through the enveloping light. They stepped further into the light, and as they did, she glimpsed a myriad of colors vibrant, alive, each hue resonating with a different emotion, a different spirit. It was as if the very dimensions of their faith were unfolding before them, revealing layers of love and healing yet to be unlocked. Would they truly witness the origins of their miracles? What would this kaleidoscope of faith reveal? What if each color held a promise, a new chapter waiting to be written? As they moved deeper into the stunning brilliance, a surge of curiosity surged within. What wonders would the next moment unveil? What boundaries would dissolve as they embraced the full magnitude of their collective faith? The light called them to step further, promising revelations beyond their understanding. Would they dare to take that leap into the unknown? Then, as if in an exhale of divine breath, the next stage of their journey awaited. As they ventured deeper into the light, a beautiful resonance began to fill the air, a melodic hum that pulsed through their very beings. Each note felt as if the heavens themselves were singing, a divine chorus celebrating their courage. Sarah felt her heart synchronize with the music, thrumming in perfect harmony with the spirit around them. Colors swirled and danced, igniting their senses. The air was sweet, full of fragrances that reminded Sarah of blooming flowers and sun-warmed earth. With each breath, a warmth unfolded in her chest, breaking down barriers she had long held. She looked down at Jacob. His eyes were wide with wonder, reflecting the shimmering light and colors. "Look, Mom, it's like a rainbow," he exclaimed, laughter bubbling up from his heart. The innocence in his voice sparked joy within her, a heavenly flicker of hope that made her feel as though limitations were lifting. In that instant, the voice echoed again. "These colors are not just beauty. They are expressions of your spirits, your desires and hopes. Each shade represents potential. Each hue holds the key to healing. What will you do with this gift?" Sarah's heart leaped. She felt an invitation not just for herself, but for everyone present. This was more than personal. It was an invitation to their community. What if they could harness this divine potential together? As she gazed out into the expanse of glowing hearts around her, a thought ignited in her mind. Let us ask for healing not just for ourselves, but for those we love, for those who suffer, she shouted, her voice ringing with newfound conviction. Jacob nodded earnestly. Yes, for our friends, for everyone in pain. As they vocalized their desires, beams of light shot out from Sarah and Jacob's forms, intertwining with the energy flowing from the congregation. The effect was tangible. An electric surge enveloped the chapel, reverberating through the very foundations. The colors shifted as if rejoicing. Brilliant greens unfurled, echoing renewal and growth, while shimmering blues flowed, ushering peace and calm. Bright yellows burst forth like rays of sunshine, filling every soul with warmth and laughter. Think bigger, the voice returned, amplifying the energy. Hold nothing back. What if you asked for healing beyond this room? What if you envisioned a world transformed? Sarah's thoughts raced, and she felt the Spirit's encouragement. Lord, extend our prayers. Heal families. Bring connection where there is division. Show us how to be vessels of your love. The congregation erupted in cries of affirmation and fervent prayers, a powerful chorus building. They were caught in a divine tide, riding the waves of faith and purpose. In that moment, Sarah understood. This experience was not merely for themselves, but a portal through which divine light could flow into the world. As the energy surged, a vision began to unfold before her. She saw streets filled with laughter, homes united in joy, and lives restored. It was as if the very fabric of reality shimmered with hope. Just then, the light surged, beckoning them to rise even higher. An overwhelming sense of purpose flooded Sarah's heart, urging her onward. What miracles awaited them if they continued to seek the depths of this divine embrace? Would they unlock not just their own healing, but the healing of many? Keep moving, Jacob urged, eyes gleaming with expectation. They stepped deeper, ready to unveil the next chapter of their miraculous journey. What divine dimensions awaited them, And how would they step forward into a broader call for healing? The future pulsed, luminous and alive, whispering secrets just beyond their reach. Sarah and Jacob stood at the precipice of their faith, enveloped in light so warm it felt like the embrace of a long-lost friend. The colors swirled around them, vivid and alive, but then the hum turned into a resonant melody of 1,000 angels joining in harmony. "Mom, it's beautiful," Jacob exclaimed, his voice weaving through the notes of song. His innocence bore no trace of the struggles they had faced. In that moment, their burdens lessened as heavenly delight enveloped them. The voice, rich and resonant, spoke again. "Now seek your heart's deepest desire. What shall you ask for, beloved ones?" The question vibrated within Sarah, awakening her spirit. She looked around. The faces of her fellow worshippers shone with unwavering hope, each heart pulsing in rhythm with the divine energy surrounding them. "Together," she whispered to Jacob, "what do we want to send forth?" His face lit up with fervor. "Mom, let us ask for everyone, not just us. For healing and happiness for everyone we know." "Yes," Sarah replied, a surge of energy bolting through her. With newfound clarity, they raised their voices together, strong and unified. "Lord, we seek healing for our mothers, our fathers, our neighbors. We wish for joy in every heart that aches." As their words spilled forth, the colors exploded brighter, arcs of light shooting into the congregation. The air thickened with a sweet aroma of blossoms, every soul interconnected in this sacred dance of surrender. The voice resonated again, "You are manifesting miracles. Gather the love you desire, and hold it tight." It felt like a command, unveiling possibilities at every turn. In that moment, Sarah saw visions of hope, a tapestry of lives intertwined, mended relationships woven with threads of joy. The healing wasn't just for them. It was for the entire village. A newfound courage surged through her. "Let us carry this vision of love beyond these walls. Jacob, look around. We can be the light in our community." Joy bubbled up inside Jacob, and he yelled, "Yes, we will show everyone how to love." The congregation erupted, voices ringing louder, and a perfect symphony of hope reverberated through the chapel. Each person stood ready, hearts alight with purpose and resolve. "Take another step," the voice urged, full of promise. "The next dimension awaits." With wide eyes and hearts pounding, Sarah and Jacob moved forward, stepping into the blaze of divine light. Suddenly, swirling energy enveloped them, pulling them into a dance of creation, layering visions and prayers one over the other, as if composing a masterpiece. It was breathtaking, every innocent prayer, every whisper of hope blending in a transcendent experience. As the pulse grew stronger, Sarah recognized the room around her sparkling with healing light. The colors swirled, revealing faces of the villagers, each situated in their own stories of need, but now painted through the lens of divine possibility, each one transformed by love. "Every heart has value. Every prayer has power." The voice reverberated. "Allow the peace that surpasses understanding to flow through each of you." Pure peace washed over Sarah as if a gentle wave had caressed her soul. She felt burdens lifted, transforming her anguish into a ripple of compassion, ready to reach out and cradle others. As Jacob squeezed her hand, she realized that their journey wasn't merely about demanding answers. "Lord, may we be conduits of your love in this world." The final surge sent waves of energy flickering out from them, resonating widely through the chapel, lifting the spirits of every soul present. It was a tidal wave of healing, crashing through every heart and every hurt, flooding them with unshakable peace. The colors morphed once more, and she glimpsed moments of laughter, moments of joy. With eyes wide open, her spirit soared. Yes, they were here to receive miracles, but even more so, they were called to be those miracles in action. With clarity, she understood the harmony among their pleas. Their journey was shared, collective. There was power in surrender, power in community, and power in faith, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. In that bright moment, peace settled in the chapel. The music faded gently, leaving only the sweet echo of hearts aligned with divine purpose. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling light and liberated. We journeyed through the dimensions of faith and emerged transformed. Around her, the last flickers of light intertwined with the congregation's murmurs, gratitude spilling from their lips. They had stepped into the depths and out of the shadows, ignited by love, emboldened by unity. Let this be the beginning, she thought, joy swelling in her chest. Each villager, hand in hand, spread warmth, spreading healing, carrying the light of faith into their daily lives. With renewed strength, they walked out into that quaint village, replacing shadows with light, healing with hope, faith with action. This was not merely a moment within the walls of the chapel. It was the dawn of endless miracles fueled by their faith. The very fabric of their lives shimmered with potential, and they were embarking on a new journey, one of divine promise that would spread like wildfire, transforming not only hearts but the world around them forevermore. And now, dear friends, this is your moment too. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these light-filled testimonies flowing. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us make a movement of faith together.